Inspire with Nendrix, the foundation.
Hey, Embracing Arms community, this is Dr. Danielle Hairston with Your Best Life, and I am coming back to you with another 5-minute quickie. I want to share some reflections around the idea of joy and gratitude. One of my core values in life and even in my profession that just stands on top of all things is joy. And I learned how important joy was when I started my career back in my 20s. And I remember my leadership at the time talking about core values. And I think it was probably the first time that I even heard any leadership express anything about core values. Like, you know, we were so focused on, you know, my previous jobs focused on doing work, do it faster, do it better, do it. And no one really sat us down and talked about like the organization's core value, or maybe my leadership's core value. And so I learned about the idea of having these core values and being able to articulate it in, you know, my early career working with this nonprofit organization, and how passionate my leader was about showing gratitude to their colleagues and bringing smiles to their colleagues' face, because they felt like it didn't matter how amazing the work was, and it didn't matter how respected the organization was across the country. If our colleagues were not feeling like they were appreciated and cared for, if the colleagues were not coming to work feeling a sense of joy and excitement about doing the work, and that doesn't mean that you're gonna feel this way every single day that you step in the office, because you may have those down days. You may have those days at home that impact your ability to focus when you get to work. You know, you may just have a tough season with whatever the job responsibility you have with that organization, and you just may not be feeling joy. But, you know, my former leader, you know, always found ways to make sure that they didn't contribute to that stress, and that they didn't contribute to you not being able to tap into the joy. Instead, they found strategies and amazing ways to engage colleagues in helping them to tap into their to what makes them happy every day in their work. And so I wanted to share with you you know, that whole idea in this space. That is one of my number one core values, just to bring joy along with other core values, but that is it. And I say to my colleagues, I do have like a colleague who have expressed, you know, listen, I know COVID was just difficult for people. They were stressed out and overwhelmed, and I know we've done all these things to kind of keep them motivated. Yeah, but we got to get to work. We got to get work done. You know, we don't have time to do touchy-feely. I get that personality. I get that way of leading. I understand everyone leads different and everyone has a different personality. But I also understand what happens when you leave dead bodies behind you, right? What happens when we run right through people because we're trying to produce, we're trying to get things done, and we're not paying attention to what's happening internally with our staff. We're not paying attention to how that movement, that quick movement, that, you know, disconnect from what's really going on with your staff's mental health, their physical health, even in their spiritual health, depending on the type of organization that you work for. What happens to your organization when we're not paying attention to someone and we're not being deliberate with bringing joy to the workplace and showing gratitude to our staff? And what happens is that people begin to check out. And regardless of how respected and how popular and how nationally recognized your organization is, it will suffer undoubtedly because the people you're charging with the responsibility to achieve the mission and the vision of your organization are falling apart. It's falling apart. And so for me, and I will share it with you and anyone that is an emerging leader or anyone that's a current leader and been in that role for a while and just trying to figure out how they can get their colleagues motivated, their direct reports motivated, ask them the question. Pull them aside one day and say, what brings you the most joy? And how do you like to be shown gratitude? Ask them the question. It could be as simple as that. Ask them, what brings you the most joy? And that you can't always address every person's desire and in terms of what brings them joy. You may not be able to address all of them, but at least if you have a collective understanding of what brings your colleagues joy, you can be more intentional daily about how you express joy in the workplace and how you show gratitude. So again, that's just my 5-minute quickie, and something that I'm super passionate about. And some people may say I think too much about people's emotions, and I think too much about showing gratitude, and I think too much about bringing joy. And that's okay. That's my leadership style. That is important to me. And I feel I believe that my institute, my organization cannot grow and it cannot sustain, and I cannot retain employees if I'm not considering their joy in ways that we can show gratitude to our colleagues. So anyway, that's my 5-minute quickie. Comment below ways in which you show gratitude and ways in which you display joy in your workplace. Subscribe and share. And until next time, go into the community and embrace someone. They're waiting on you, and continue to live your absolute best life.
Not to mention the media's effort to keep us in the most simplistic state of mind. Lowest age bracket committing the highest rate of crime. People dying way before they hit their age of prime, thinking success only happens if they shoot hoops